What's good? Good afternoon to Commanders fans. Good afternoon to all the fans in the world. My squad has agreed. There's an agreement for a deal to be done with Eric Bieniemy. This is the moment that we all been waiting on. It took some time. It was a tough 24 to 48 hours of prayer, and we finally got this thing done. The official contract is definitely going to happen tomorrow, but there's multiple reports out there from credible sources that Bieniemy has been signed. So I'm going to share a few of the news that I've seen. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, all these different guys are saying that Eric Bieniemy has been signed. So I heard it first from one of my guys, and then started seeing more and more stories come up. So here it is, Ian Rappaport. We all know him. We all trust him. You see the check mark. It says full story on the Commanders set to hire Chiefs OC Eric Bieniemy as the new offensive coordinator. Let's read a little bit more. So Eric Bieniemy might be leaving Kansas City on top. So we already knew what the story was, right? Eric Bieniemy, a guy who has fought, so tough, so hard to get a head coaching job, and for some reason, he just can't get a job for whatever reason is. Now he had to take a route to where he takes a lateral job, going from coaching one of the best quarterbacks, right, to possibly ever do this thing, and then now it's like you're going backwards, right? You're playing with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, everything is good, life is great. You win the Super Bowl, you win 2 Super Bowls, and yet you're still not getting the respect that you deserve. But in order to then get that job or get that next a level in your career, you have to come into Washington, a dysfunctional franchise, a franchise that has struggled for wins, a franchise that have struggled to just be a good franchise in just overall. Now you take this lateral job, you come here. There was talks about philosophy, where the team is headed, who's the quarterback, all those kinds of things. And we won't really know the plan of who the quarterback is or what they decide to do until, guess what? Until the draft or until free agency. Free agency is going to tell you what we're doing quarterback-wise. Let's say you're going to start to hear reports, hey, Commanders have tried to interview, let's say, Derek Carr, or they're trying to trade for this quarterback or trying to trade for that quarterback. Timeout Sports says great hire. Absolutely great hire. I'm excited about it. I've been waiting on this news for the last 48 hours, and I'm glad that it's finally over. I'm glad that we finally got it done. So just days after celebrating his second Super Bowl, longtime Chiefs offensive coordinator is finalizing a deal to become the OC for the Commanders. NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero reported Friday, per source. The hiring should be made by Saturday if all goes well. All is going to go well. This is just formality at this point. They're just, they're going to ink the deal. They're just working out contracts at this point. This guy has literally spent almost going on 3 days, here in DC, and having dinner and meeting with the team yesterday, and then meeting again with the a front office again today. It says Bieniemy, whose contract expired at the end of the season, would take over as OC. Spot vacated by Washington. Scott Turner. Scott Turner was terrible. Scott Turner could not literally elevate this team, and now you get a creative guy or a creative mindset in Eric Bieniemy, who can come in and create and design plays. These are some of the things that Scott Turner can do. Scott Turner could not design plays to get this team to that next level. And here you have a guy that has a winning pedigree. He's coached under one of the greatest coaches of all time in Andy Reid. And whether it's Andy Reid calling it or not calling the plays, at some point you have to think that Eric Bieniemy has some success. I mean, he's done some things. And he's learned under a great coach. So at the end of the day, you're getting an extension of Andy Reid. You're getting a guy that's a winner. He's a proven winner. He's coming from a winning organization, coming to a terrible organization like the Commanders. It should help. So I hear people saying, well, it's a red flag if he's not calling plays. It's a red flag if it's really Andy Reid that's the genius. This guy has spent years with Andy Reid. At the end of the day, it can only be but great. for the Commanders. As you guys are coming in, please like it up. Please share. Let's read more. Let's read more. It says, Bieniemy, who the Chiefs' contract expired at the end of the season, he's taking over for Scott Turner. The 53-year-old Bieniemy also creates an opening for OC for the reigning Super Bowl champs. We're hearing that Matt Nagy might go back to Kansas City to become that OC for Kansas City. You kind of see how this works. Matt Nagy tried as a coach for the Bears, and that didn't work out, you know. And now he's back in Kansas City, and now he's going to be, you know, he spent 2022 as KC's senior assistant and quarterbacks coach. So sometimes teams promote from within. So it seems like Matt Nagy gets that job back, and then Bieniemy. So what is Bieniemy walking into? So first of all, talked about this a little bit yesterday on the pod. If you guys caught that, so coming into a beautiful situation. I'm going to say beautiful because it's not like he's coming in without weapons on offense, right? So when you look at it, you have Terry McLaurin, who's a really good wide receiver. Let's see if he can create and scheme some plays for Terry. I was listening to somebody talk, and then they said, why is it that Travis Kelce is always open? Travis Kelce is always open for several different reasons, but part of that is that Travis Kelce is schemed open, right? So, to my understanding, if Eric Bieniemy knows the scheme, that means that, guess what? He might be able to bring that scheme over to Washington. Now, obviously, we don't have a Patrick Mahomes. We're going to talk about quarterback in a minute. We don't have a guy like Travis Kelce. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So, at quarterback right now, you have Sam Howell, right? Sam Howell may or may not be the guy. But guess what? If Eric Bieniemy can come to DC and take Sam Howell, and he's able to groom this guy to something, a decent starter, maybe a starting level quarterback, maybe a franchise level quarterback, I don't know. Can Bieniemy's style work with what Sam Howell has to offer? We don't know. So at quarterback right now, you have Sam Howell, you have Carson Wentz, who's on his way out. Thank God, right? You save cap there. You have Taylor Heinicke, who the team may or may not bring back. But with this new offensive coordinator, my gut tells me that Taylor Heinicke is gone. And this is why. You're going to need a quarterback that has an arm. If you're playing with, if Eric Bieniemy is the coach, you have to, okay, let's look at his pedigree. He has been a running backs coach all through his life, right? Up until he got the job with KC. So with that being said, he's going to run a more balanced offense, which is good. You're going to see a nice mixture of pass and run. This isn't KC where you're going to expect, pass after pass after pass after pass. That's not what he's going to do here in DC. I see more of a balanced attack, but I also see really good plays being ran, right? Really good design plays being ran. So that's what you're going to get out of Eric Bieniemy. That's one. So back to quarterback. So Sam Howell, he's really literally all you have on your roster right now. Hey, what's good, Brian Butler? Yeah. So all you have right now is Sam Howell, right? So what do? You need a backup quarterback, right? If Sam Howell is your guy, if you're going into the future saying that Sam Howell is the guy that's going to take over the starting job or he has a chance to start, however you word it, Sam Howell is in the picture, right? Now, do you draft a quarterback? In this class, drafting at 16, you have more glaring needs than quarterback. If Anthony Richardson is out there at number 16, do the Commanders grab Anthony Richardson? See, right now, it's not all about what the fans want. Yeah, some people like Anthony Richardson. Some people don't like Anthony Richardson. I think he's a project. I think he's a year or two away from being something. But why have a project when you have a Sam Howell and you don't know what you have in Sam Howell, right? So I don't see us necessarily grabbing a guy like Richardson unless you trade up and you get a Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, which I doubt that happens. And then you have Will Levis, who's the third quarterback of this class. Do you grab him? So again, it all goes back to you already have a young quarterback on the roster. So I think my gut tells me that the team will not be drafting a quarterback within the first round this year. That does not eliminate drafting somebody in the second or third round. Now, free agent wise, Who's out there? It says, I'm off the mindset that this is a bad hire. Okay. Oh, you says, I'm of the mindset that this is a bad hire. Why do you think this is a bad hire, Hawk? I mean, some fans, not a lot of fans, a few fans think that hiring Bieniemy is a bad hire, but I do not understand that logic. You have witnessed Scott Turner for how many years now in DC, and he's giving you nothing. And you bring in a guy who has coached one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen in our lifetime. And you hear Patrick Mahomes talking about how instrumental Bieniemy has been to him. And then you hear Andy Reid saying that without Bieniemy, they possibly don't come back. So let me see. It says, nah, man, it's a great hire. Absolutely. Brian, I'm with you. This is a great hire. This is like one of the biggest moves in DC history in a long time. When was the last time we've had a hire like this? You know, you've gotten some big names, some big name coaches, but nothing quite like this. This is a guy who's dynamic. This is a guy, even though he's older, one thing I can say about Eric Bieniemy is that he knows some modern type plays. He has a creative mindset. And this is something that we've struggled with. We always say, oh, we need some of these young coaches like a McVay or a this guy or a that guy. Eric Bieniemy is one of those kinds of guys. We just have to see if he gets the right personnel, which is why it brings me back to quarterback. Hawk says, suppose that this experiment goes well for us naturally. That would make Bieniemy a hot head coaching candidate. Absolutely. And I'm going to get to that. If Eric Bieniemy is able to succeed, there's no doubt in my mind that Ron gets fired and Eric Bieniemy becomes head coach. I mean, it's very possible, especially if Bieniemy is able to get his quarterback, or if let's say that Sam Howell works, and then Sam Howell's the guy, then he can hammer out other positions that the team need to, succeed. Right, the comments are coming. Keep the comments coming in, fellas. Appreciate this. It says, then he should be our head coach. I want Ron gone, and that's what I'm talking about. If it works out with Eric, Ron Rivera's gone. Ron Rivera has been on a hot seat for the last 2 years, but it's a conversation that we're not ready to talk about with Commanders fans. Like, we love Ron. I love Ron. Ron is a great human being. Ron has done so much for the franchise. But at the end of the day, the way I'm looking at it is Ron is limited. There's only so much that Ron can do. Maybe there's a way that you keep Ron in the building as a consultant or something, but you can definitely see a scenario like the Bucs did with that coaching change. You just promote somebody in and then you send somebody upstairs. This could be something similar. A lot of fans want Ron gone. Ron is, hey, if Eric wants to be the head coach, if I had a choice between Ron and Eric, I'm taking Eric. Eric is more than qualified to be the head coach of this team. It says, this is a great move. All we need now is to upgrade OL. Sam Howell has the skill set to execute the offense. Appreciate the comment, Dave. I love Sam Howell. But the thing is, at the end of the day, Sam Howell is still technically a rookie. But he's a rookie that has high IQ. And I think that when Eric Bieniemy comes in, and he's going to assess everything. He's going to look at every single free agent quarterback that's available, right? He's going to look at every single draftable quarterback that's available. Then he's going to say, do I want to go the direction of bringing in another vet? But if Bieniemy does bring in another vet, one thing that I'm confident is that he can pick the right guy that knows that can fit his system. Obviously, that guy has to eventually work out. We've tried the vet thing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times past few years, and it hasn't worked. But if he's the one that is truly grabbing his guy, guess what? I'm more confident now because you have a smart guy running the show offensively. Will the Commanders, with the GM or Ron Rivera or whoever, give Bieniemy the full reins, the full power to go ahead and bring in the right personnel? Personnel seems to be an issue. We're going to get to the next position group in a minute. Let me read some of these comments. Hawk says, in the event the Bieniemy plays the game and makes our offense great again, this should be a one and done for Bieniemy, and we still have to find a long-term solution at OC. It depends. If they give him the reins, if they give him the full power to draft a quarterback, then that means he's here to stay, which means that Ron Rivera might be on his way out. So it's lots of different scenarios here. Hawk also says, I can see a scenario where Bieniemy could be our head coach, but there's a lot of risk in Bieniemy coming here. What's the risk? There is absolutely no risk. This helps us. This helps him. Matter of fact, this might even be something that helps Ron Rivera's job, honestly. And like I said, if it works, let's say it's a one and done. It does not hurt a guy like Sam Howell. It doesn't whatsoever. Says, I agree. I see a little Drew Brees and Sam Howell. I do. I see a little bit of Drew Brees. I see a little bit of Russell Wilson. He's very smart. When you look at Sam Howell in a small sample size that we've seen or had, he's very smart. Yes, he had that pick in the end zone, but that's growing pains of a young quarterback. I love the IQ. And Sam Howell, if you put Sam Howell in this group of quarterbacks this year, you can make a case that he's a top 3 guy. You can make a case that he's a top 2 guy. So you got to see what you have in him, assess him. Even if you're bringing a vet, let's say for some odd reason, this is a scenario that I do not want. Mike Brown says, nice jacket. Appreciate you, bro. A scenario that I do not want is, let's say the Commanders bring in Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, okay? But we all know the baggage that comes with Aaron Rodgers, the drama that comes with Aaron Rodgers. So if Aaron Rodgers comes here, I wouldn't hate it, but I won't be excited because it's still a short-term type thing. So let's say you bring in Aaron Rodgers, right? And then you still have Sam Howell as part of the plan. Let's say Aaron Rodgers is here for 2 years. The team obviously instantly makes the playoffs. I don't know how far this team can go with Aaron Rodgers, but they can definitely go further than they did last year, right? So that's a scenario. If Bieniemy is saying bringing Aaron Rodgers, even if it's a one and done type thing, could the Commanders land an Aaron Rodgers without Bieniemy? All I'm saying is you bring in a guy like this who's smart, he's going to attract free agents to want to come here. We haven't had the attraction of free agents. Now you bring in somebody who knows what they're talking about offensively. It's going to open up doors, right? So we talked about quarterback. We're not going to talk about that again the rest of the show. Whether it's Howell, whether it's a free agent, whether it's drafting a quarterback. If he drafts his quarterback, he's going to stick around, which most likely means he's the head coach. But we'll see what happens there. Hawk says the risk comes from the uncertainty at ownership. Yes, you might bring in new owners. New owners might say, look, I like Eric, I hate Ron. Then what? Or they can say, I like Eric, I don't like Ron, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter. This is a low-risk, high-reward signing. It could work. It might not work. But at the end of the day, you're going to be better than you were last year. Okay? It's going to make guys like Terry McLaurin happy, guys like Jahan Dotson happy, guys like Curtis Samuel happy, who might be expendable. I keep talking about Curtis Samuel being expendable. He truly might be expendable. Hawk says, on the flip side, this hire screams Hail Mary by Ron Rivera and co. Absolutely. I told you guys, Ron Rivera has been on the hot seat for the last couple of years, conversation that people don't want to have. So this might have literally saved Ron Rivera's job. Time will tell. Time will definitely tell. All right, let's keep it moving. These comments are pretty good. Keep them coming. Hawk says, I'm looking forward to seeing how aggressive they'll be in free agency as well as calculated moves in the draft room. I think free agency is the key. What do you think the biggest need for the Commanders truly is right now? You guys would say offensive line, right? Throw some names out there. Who can we realistically bring in at a good price to fix this offensive line? I think we have 3 holes. We need center. We need guard. We need every single position right now. Offensive line. Livewire, appreciate you hopping on the show. Livewire says, we finally got someone who is really proven, and that's the key. That's something that people fail to realize. This is a great signing, y'all. Facts, man. Time will tell. Livewire says, we need a linebacker. We need a linebacker badly. We've been needing a linebacker for the last, I don't know how many years, and that's why I think Ron Rivera is on a hot seat. If things don't improve this year, let's say, for me, Ron Rivera first needs to show us that he can win more than 8 games. That's the first goal. Let's say he wins 9 games. Okay, that's goal number 1 checked off. Then you got to make the playoffs. Goal number 2. Then now you got to win a playoff game. Goal number 3. I think all 3 goals are achievable this year. And if any one of those 3 or any combination of two out of that 3 don't happen, Ron Rivera is gone, regardless of how well Eric Bieniemy does. We need we need to start seeing fruits. We need to start seeing things happening. Okay. Dave says we can make an effort to get Michael Mayer. I love it. I love it. Me and my guy Shalor were talking about this today. Michael Mayer at 16 makes perfect sense. I'm hoping that he's not gone. Everybody's saying offensive line, but this tight end right here is going to be a special tight end. This is a guy that can run. This is a guy that can catch. This is a guy that can block. He can do every single thing that you need at tight end. And I'm telling you guys, if Travis Kelce can be schemed. So when you look at tight end, I like Mayer, but let's say for some reason we go a different route and we don't get him. A name that I love in free agency is Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, Michael Mayer, or both. Why not? Why not? Everybody talks about these Armani Rogers and these Cole Turners and Bates. None of those guys impress me. Those guys are Jags. Those guys are just guys that are on the roster. We need something special at tight end. We want this offense to be great. We want this offense to be good, right? Why not bring in a guy like Michael Mayer? How do you guys feel about a Bijan Robinson? I'm not saying that it happens. I'm not saying that, I'm not for drafting running backs in the first round. But the mindset that I'm trying to open up here is like, look, we need playmakers, whether it's at the running back position, whether it's at the tight end position. You see teams when the Dallas Cowboys had Amari Cooper, they went on and grabbed, what was his name? Amari Cooper, they went on and grabbed CeeDee Lamb. They didn't need a CeeDee Lamb, but you go ahead and grab the best available talent. Let's say they're one of these superstar wide receivers like a Jordan Addison or a JSN Foster as a 16. What do? It's all about getting better. And if you bring in Eric Bieniemy, you're saying, hey, you want to put this guy in the best position to win, right? You want to put this guy in the best position to succeed. You want Sam Howell or whoever the quarterback is to succeed. Obviously, offensive line is a key component, but I feel like they can do some things in free agency. And then whatever that's not done in free agency, you can do in the second round. I would love for that first round pick to be a weapon. Brian says, upgrade the offensive line, add some depth at corner and linebacker, and we'll be set. I agree with all of those things. Like the thing is, like, we need so many things, but it's like you can't attack you can't hit everything in free agency or even the draft because of money, because of draft capital. Hawk says we need a left tackle. That's true. We need 2 tackles. Carl says Rivera is a bum. Hawk says, question for you, Manny, in the chat. How long do you think Bieniemy stays in Washington? It all depends. I would love to see this guy hang around for a long time, but it all depends on the direction of the team. If Bieniemy plays well and he wants a head coaching job, you have to make a decision. Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy. Especially, it depends on how much success we have. Let's say we just have a magical run and we win 2 playoff games and we get to the NFC championship. You got to make a decision. Maybe Ron Rivera couldn't get us over the top. Maybe Eric can. Maybe Eric wants a head coaching job, and then this guy is so valuable that you don't want to lose him. So there's different scenarios there. I would love to see him stick around, especially if the offense is ticking, especially if Sam Howell is the guy. You want to have that offensive coordinator. You want to have the enemy by his side as long as possible to help, get him to that next level, especially being that we haven't had a franchise quarterback in a long time. The G-Man says they need to build the O-line. Aside from an experienced tight end, a veteran quarterback, the skill positions on offense are in good shape. Linebacker, corner are also big needs. Yes, we definitely need a second corner, and we definitely need 2 more linebackers. I don't see Cole Holcomb being retained. You have to upgrade there. You just have to. Since Robinson is that much of an upgrade over Brian Robinson. Bijan Robinson is a major upgrade over Brian Robinson Jr. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs we've seen come through for years. I mean, that's just how much respect I give Bijan Robinson. I love Brian Robinson Jr. He's good. I think that Brian Robinson Jr. is a compliment. I think that Bijan Robinson is an elite talent. I'm not for running backs in the first round, but he is one of those guys you draft in the first round. He is that special. Hey, you guys come back on the show through the season, and I do fantasy, I do dynasty as well, and we'll talk Bijan Robinson then as well. Says Manny, I know that you're looking at it from a big picture standpoint, like Doctor Strange has access to the multiverse. I just want to see if my Commanders are looking at the bigger picture. We'll see, man. We'll see. This is a great hire. At the end of the day, any coordinator that you hire that's talented, they normally leave. Like remember when Jack Del Rio first got here and we were having some success, and then a lot of us didn't want to lose Del Rio. We were like, because if he has success, he's gonna get a head coaching job. He had success and he still didn't get a head coaching job. So it can happen to anybody. You can bring in McVay. You can bring in the most talented offensive coordinator, the most talented defensive coordinator. And if they succeed, then what? They normally leave anyways, right? So why not go grab the best when you can? You can't say, hey, I'm not going to have steak today. Steak is too expensive. I want to have Spam. That doesn't make any sense. You go grab the best talent available regardless of what happens in the future. You know? Oh, let me see what G-Man says. He says, let's see if Cole Turner and Amani Rodgers can break out have breakout years in 23. Yeah, why are you doing that? Still go ahead and get you a Mike Gesicki. Still go out there and get you a Michael Mayer. Same thing. Anytime you have an option to improve, you do it. As much as I love Sam Howell, if we're getting a legit quarterback, like a Lamar Jackson, let's say Lamar Jackson wants to come to DC. Are you going to say, no, I don't want a Lamar Jackson. I want Sam Howell. Let's see what Sam Howell can do. No, you go ahead and you take that talent if you can get it. Obviously, I would love to see what Cole Turner can do. I would love to see what Amari Rodgers can do. I would love to see what Sam Howell can do. I'm all for all these young players. But at the end of the day, if you can upgrade, you upgrade. That is all I'm saying. And even while you upgrade, these guys can come in and play a secondary role and still succeed, and they can still break out. Says, I'm expecting us to draft either offensive line or corner in the first round. I'm not mad at it. And look, we need everything. I'm not mad at anything we do in the draft. I feel like we're going to continue to just find talent. We need talent. Hawk says, Brad Childress, Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson never called plays under Andy Reid, but got head coaching jobs. And Bieniemy still black. And you know what? That could be at the end of the day. Let's say that Bieniemy leaves, right? We'll get a comp pick. We'll get a third round pick because minority coaches getting hired. The team that so like right now, we hire Bieniemy. Guess what? The Chiefs get a third round pick, right? That's like the new rule, or they get some kind of comp pick, maybe third, maybe fourth, based on that formula. So yeah, things are definitely happening, and it sucks that Bieniemy has to be blackballed like this, but hey, they're lost our game. I'm excited to have him here. It says this is a bad look for the NFL. Yeah, bad look for the NFL, great look for Washington. And that's all I care about at this point. Would you want to go after Justin Fields? Timothy, I appreciate you hopping on the show. Timothy says, would you rather go after Justin Fields if it turns out to be true that the Bears want to keep the first round pick to take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? I would only go after Justin Fields based on price. And honestly, Sam Howell right now, today, is a better passer than Justin Fields. So who has a higher upside? Possibly Justin Fields, because he's played longer. I've seen more on Justin Fields than I have on Sam Howell. But whether you have Howell, whether you have Justin Fields, it's apples, oranges. It's just all about preference. Now, Bieniemy might prefer Fields, and that's fine. And that's fine. Whatever Bieniemy wants, Bieniemy is going to get. Hey, as you guys are coming in, please like, please subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Says my conspiracy self is saying they're going to try to make it work, make this move work. Why not? I mean, it's a great move. Since I doubt it's true, I'm looking forward to an actual competent offensive play calling. Look, I think Bieniemy gives us a lot. It says, question for you, Manny. Can you please give us a list of the Chiefs' upcoming free agents? I will pull that up for you in just a minute. It says, are there any linebackers that you see us drafting in the first 4 rounds that could be a difference maker? I'll get that for you as well. Hawk says, the Rooney Rule applies to coordinators. Absolutely. Hey, that's great. That means you want this. Okay, the Titans did hire who did the Titans hire? The Titans hired somebody from the Commanders. I wonder if the Commanders actually get a pick. I wonder if they actually get a pick for Titans hiring coordinator from us. We'll see. It says, do you think that Sam Howell has a lot of potential if they are willing to be patient to develop him? He is going to make some mistakes, but it's part of the growing process. And that's the thing. That's the thing. What is the philosophy that's going to be brought in by Eric Bieniemy? Are they going for like a win now, like a win today? Like, let's get to the playoffs, let's get to the Super Bowl right now? Because Sam Howell will make mistakes. But I think that if they go Sam Howell, they have to know it's the growing pains of having a young quarterback. Patrick Mahomes was young once. Even though Patrick Mahomes is a unicorn, he's not from Earth. He's like Patrick Mahomes is different, right? But what if Sam Howell is what we've been looking for? And he's been right there. Like you've seen guys like, don't laugh, Dak Prescott, late round guy comes in, takes over the job. Rest is history. Russell Wilson, middle round type guy, same thing. So sometimes you can find these guys in the third to fifth round, and there's only a select few guys that actually have success. And I really like what Sam Howell brings to the table. Says, let's get them likes up. Hey, appreciate you, brother. Yes, Chris Harris. Chris Harris was the guy that the Titans hired, and Chris Harris is a phenomenal guy, by the way. So hopefully we get a pick for that. It says Chris Harris is a Titan. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Says, I'm shocked, given our situation, new ownership pending, uncertainty with job security, etc. I honestly thought no one would come here, let alone Bieniemy. Dope. That's what I'm saying. This is great. Look, this news is as great as, let's say you bring in a top quarterback. Like, look, I'm not going to lie. When we traded for RG3, I thought it was crazy, but it worked. This feels as exciting as that. This feels as exciting as when we drafted Chase Young. Obviously, the whole Chase Young thing has not worked out yet, but this is big news. When somebody of this caliber comes to a franchise that's struggling, right? Comes to a franchise that he just won a Super Bowl. He just left Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, and he's coming to DC. That should tell you something. He's going to attract people to come here and want to play here, even if it's just 1 year. Things could happen. So let me see. The G-Man says Tom Brady was not that high round pick. Absolutely. And that's why you got to give these guys a chance. And to the same point, to the guys that are telling me, hey, give Cole Turner a chance, give Amari Rodgers a chance. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's all about the philosophy. If he says, hey, let's rock with Howell, let's see what he can bring to the table, let's see how we're progressing, then that's great. Let's say the reason why I'm like, let's go ahead and add more offensive talent, whether it's Michael Mayer at 16, whether it's Bijan Robinson at 16, because when you add those guys, if Sam Howell is truly your guy, you add in extra offensive talent, it's definitely going to help the team. Definitely going to help the team. Phil says, now we can cut a few guys and get cap space. Build O-line and let EB work. I think that Curtis Samuel is gone. If De'Ami Brown emerges, Curtis Samuel could be gone, and you can save money there. I'm going to pull up the list of contracts, who's getting paid what, and things of that nature. Corey Evans says, is it official? Absolutely. I'm going to share this once again. Contract has to be signed tomorrow, but the agreement is there. The mutual agreement is there. They're just finalizing things. So you can go to NFL.com. Commanders finalizing deal with Eric Bieniemy as new offensive coordinator. This is on NFL.com, reported by Ian Rappaport, and also Tom Palanzero. So yes, it's official. It's practically official. All that's left is for the contract to be signed. He's here. He's here. So that is great news. Hawk says the move itself is mind-boggling. While I'm not keen on the move, Manny summed it up best. Time will tell. Absolutely. It's one of those things. Nobody wants to come here. We finally get somebody here and everybody's confused. It's like everybody's asking, why would he choose Washington? It has to be a bigger plan. It has to be something bigger than what we can see or even know right now. Maybe there's an agreement to where Bieniemy takes over the head coaching job in a year or two. Maybe that's agreed upon as well. Maybe that Bieniemy, not only the offensive coordinator, might get that assistant head coaching position as well if they offer that. So I think that it's more than what we know right now. I think that as the days go on, as the months go on, you're gonna start to hear more on why he actually took this job. The only thing that makes the most sense to me on why Eric will take this job is that he has a head coaching job with the Commanders coming soon. And then, like I said, you don't know what happens with the owners. It says it's official, like an OnlyFans page. Oh, man. Dave says, Curtis was clutch last year for us. Look, I love Curtis Samuel. I'm not for, hey, let's cut Curtis Samuel. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he could become expendable, especially if you go the cheaper route. Bieniemy Brown is cheaper. Maybe they draft another guy in the middle rounds. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I want Curtis Samuel gone. That's not what I want. But if you're looking for money to kind of sign Deron Payne, to maybe sign Cameron Curl to an extension, money is needed to do some things that we want to do. And if you want to improve your offensive line, it's like this. Offensive line of Curtis Samuel, goodbye, Curtis Samuel. If we can bring in an elite left tackle via free agency or elite right tackle via free agency, I'm all in for that. I'm all in for that. I'd rather the money go towards the trenches anyways than skill position. It says, I think that Wentz, Roulier, Thomas, and Kurt Cole all cap casualties. I agree. Well, we know that Wentz is gone. Roulier got to go. Like, the guy cannot stay healthy to save his life, okay? Thomas, thank you so much for being a great story, being a great project. This is the era where we have to stop messing with projects. Or you can't take on too many projects. We already have a project in Sam Howell. Let's see what we have in him. We have some tight ends. You can have 1 or 2 tight end projects. You just can't have 2 or 3. Like, your entire room can't be projects. That's all I'm saying. You got to have at least one bona fide stud, whether it's free agency, Mike Gesicki, or draft Michael Mayer. Or there's other tight ends that I like Dalton Kincaid, Marsgrave. There's so many other tight ends out there that can come in and they're already better than Cole and Amari Rodgers. It says, build up the O-line so that the playbook can be wide open. I'm all in on that. If you build up this O-line, guess what? Sam Howell instantly looks better. He instantly looks better if you build up this O-line. It says Chase is going to cost more dead cap than all the rest together. Yeah, Chase is going to be expensive. We're going to get to a Chase Young conversation by the end of the year, right? Are we keeping Chase? Is Chase worth it? Is he overrated? Like, what is the plan? What is the plan? So all these different things. It says, also, Manny, please pull up the list of Eagles' upcoming free agents. Got you. So you KC Eagles. We're going to pull that up. Hawkins laughing. Let me see. Samuel could also be a trade possibility. If you can get something out of Curtis Samuel in order to have money to sign other positions, you do it. Like, even if it means getting a 5th round pick, you do what you can. You do what you can. You have to liquidate assets. You have to, put yourselves in the best position to win. Timothy says, it was a nice feeling seeing the media giving Washington respect late into the season. I've seen a couple of pundits hating on EB coming here. Like, we have a young QB with arm talent. It says a great. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Like, even now, you're seeing people saying that Eric Bieniemy coming to Washington is stupid, right? You see that over and over and over and over. Like, I'm seeing all kinds of videos. I'm seeing all kind of hate. Let the man do what he wants to do. Even if he fails, at least he tried. A lot of you guys want to advance in your careers, right? A lot of you guys want to advance in your jobs. But if you don't take that first step, sometimes you have to take a different route to get to where you want to get to. And for example, if he wanted a head coaching job, he couldn't get one. I think he outstayed his welcome in Kansas City. He's done all he can. He's won 2 championships. Andy Reid is not going to stop coaching anytime soon. So at the end of the day, he had to make a name for himself. And if he's able to fix this mess in Washington, it helps him, it helps us, it helps everybody. It says cutting Wentz and getting Fuller to take a pay cut will pay for Payne and Curl. If you can get Fuller to take a pay cut, that would be beautiful. I think that Fuller's getting to that age to where you're going to start to see a decline. But Fuller was great for us last year. He played really, really well. It's just all about consistency for me with Fuller. So we'll see what happens there. Let me see. All right. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing multiple things. It says it's not like we're the Texans. Texans catching strays. Since the Chiefs' offense is predicated on speed, and more speed. I'm looking for Bieniemy to eat. He's definitely going to eat. You're going to see a lot of creativity. The beauty with Eric Bieniemy is that he's creative, and that's what we all been looking for: a creative offense, something that is not predictable, and you got to get more dynamic. And I think that he has a chance to make this offense more dynamic. This is why Eric Bieniemy has been a RB coach for years. He believes in the running game. That's something that they couldn't do in Kansas City for whatever the reason was. You're going to see multiple guys, even if it's not, put it like this, Washington will add to the running back room. That's all I'm going to say. It's either going to be the draft or it's going to be free agency. Don't be surprised if you see a guy like Kareem Hunt come here. You'll say, well, why would Kareem Hunt want to come here? Why should they grab a Kareem Hunt? Why shouldn't they? Like you shouldn't be content with what you already have. Antonio Gibson is going into what, year 3? And he might not get paid. So we'll see. You need offense, you need offensive firepower, you need creativity. And I think the Bieniemy is going to have a nice mix between run and pass. It says, hail to the flipping Commanders. Heck yeah, let's go, fellas. Positive comment. I love it. Let's get it. Dave Robb says, I was talking about Chase the center, not Chase Young. Oh, yeah, Chase Roulier got to go. I'm sorry, he got to go. Your best, the best thing that you should bring to a team is your availability, right? And if you're not available and if you're not dependable, what good are you to the team? And he's been hurt the last 2 years. It says, wide receivers is autocorrected. Yeah, man, that confused me, man. I read your comment. I said, man, I can't even read no more. So it's all good. It's all good. It says, I'm keeping our backfield, Manny. I feel you. I mean, the backfield, the good thing about the backfield is very cheap right now. I just want to upgrade. Man. I'm sorry. Between the two guys that we have, I don't see a Clinton Portis. I don't see anything special between them. That doesn't mean that they're bad players. I just don't see, anything special between those two guys. Hey, maybe they can prove me wrong this year. Maybe. It says the new owner might hedge their bet. It says if EB comes here and we win double-digit games and win a playoff game or even 2, they might think EB can call plays and be the head coach. And bingo, that's the 2-for-1. That's the 2-for-1 right there. If EB comes in and this team has success, the first thing everybody's going to say is that this isn't Ron Rivera. This is Eric Bieniemy. He's going to get all the credit. And he could possibly get the head coach. So you got to give credit to Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera knows that he's saving his job, but at the same time, he's bringing in a guy that could take his job. So it's one of those situations where you really don't know. It's like a mystery, right? It could work. It might not work. If it doesn't work, guess what? He sticks around for maybe one more year and then gets another chance. If it works, he could be gone. He could take over. So either way, the biggest winner here is Eric Bieniemy. He's betting on himself. And I'm just glad that he's giving us an opportunity. It's not us giving him an opportunity. He's giving us an opportunity because he could have gone elsewhere. There were other offensive coordinator jobs open. There were plenty. So I'm going to pull up a list of Commanders free agents. Free agents 2023. Let me see what pops up. And then we'll look at some of the other teams' free agents. I know Hawk wanted to see the Eagles. He wanted to see the Chiefs. But I figured let's start with our team first before we look at the other teams. Free agents on Sports Track. I don't know how current this is, but a lot of people use Sports Track. Dave Robb says it was kind of messed up seeing Patterson play so well in week 18. Why is he on the practice squad all year? Williams did okay, but Patterson is better. I like Patterson. I think Patterson is better as well. It's all about philosophy, but I'm telling you guys, Eric Bieniemy is coming here to change all that. If Eric Bieniemy doesn't like you in the backfield, you're gone. If he feels he needs an upgrade, there will be an upgrade. Jonathan Williams did some good things for us. It seems like Ron Rivera wanted to pound the ball, wanted to play some of that power type running style, but you didn't even have the personnel to do that. I would love to see us have a fullback, but I don't know if that's part of what Eric Bieniemy likes to do. But with him being a former RB coach, you best believe I'm telling you guys, you're gonna see an improvement in the run game, and it's gonna help the entire offense, because the best thing that you can do for your young quarterback is, number one, have a run game. Number two, obviously the offensive line, obviously. But with Sam Howell being mobile, he can kind of help with that. I mean, you saw it in a small sample size versus Dallas. Sam Howell was able to avoid a lot of sacks. I don't think he was sacked. He wasn't sacked at all, was he? Versus Dallas. So that just shows you what a mobile quarterback can do for you. It's going to help that offensive line. But I'm telling you guys, play action fake. If the run game is going, you're going to see a play action with Sam Howell. And I'm telling you, Sam Howell throws a pretty deep ball like Russell Wilson. That's where he reminds me of Russell Wilson, is that deep ball. And that's what Russell Wilson does well, that play action, deep ball. And you're going to see a lot of that with Sam Howell. If that running game gets going, it can be dangerous. And the second thing a young a quarterback needs is a tight end. That's why I keep saying we need an upgrade. Logan Thomas wasn't it. Hopefully Cole Turner and Rodgers can be that, or some level of that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt adding to the room. Even if it's a vet that's not a high-priced vet or a stud vet, maybe somebody who helps that room, and then hopefully these two guys can be the guys. But like I said, I'm not excited about that tight end room whatsoever. That's facts, man. I came around the idea that Bieniemy should have stayed and got his third chip. Yeah, he could have stayed, but it's like, I'm telling you, if you're going to be getting the same money, he might have been bored. He might have been bored, because for players it's different, right? When you're winning, it's fun, you're playing. I think that Eric Bieniemy has done all he has come out to do in Kansas City. And I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. In the NFL, if you don't have a head coaching job or have a new challenge, it's kind of boring, especially when you're getting paid the same kind of money. And it seems like he's a competitor. He's 53 years old. He feels like he can do a lot more things before he starts to wind down or slow down, or even thinking about retiring. So he's fairly young for coaches. But Hug says, I waited to see who on the Chiefs can potentially come to Washington. Same thing with Philly, because they can't pay everybody. Absolutely. We're going to get to that in a minute. It says the Chiefs had a fullback last year. That's great. I love that. I mean, I think with a fullback, you can do so much. And remember, in the Super Bowl, there was a play that was called, right? There was a lot of motion. I think it was Sky Moore motioning left to right, and then McKinnon motions in and leads the touchdown. So McKinnon leads as a fullback, and then Pacheco runs in right behind him and scores a touchdown. So that could be something where you got Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson Jr., and you can look, Pacheco, Brian Robinson Jr., there is no difference. They are so similar. So you have that. But that other kind of guy, like a McKinnon, that could be Antonio Gibson. But we're going to see. We're going to see. It's all about what Eric Bieniemy decides to do. Everything is not going to be like Kansas City. I promise you guys that. So I like the flashes Rodgers had at TE last year. I did as well, but I need more. It says, interesting. I have so much trouble with the idea because I can't remember it ever happening. Okay. That's a side conversation. It says, I even seen that other kid Hodges. I think he's 6'8". We got some young pieces at tight end, but are they reliable? Time will tell. Who knows? Maybe Eric Bieniemy goes in and says, man, I love this tight end group. He might say, man, outside of Kelsey, this tight end group is better than everything else they had outside of Kelsey in Kansas City. Who am I to say, oh, Bieniemy, you're wrong? He could be, look, we might have everything we need in this room, right? Ron Rivera always says, everything we need is in this room. I stopped believing that a long time ago. So let's see what Eric says in terms of personnel, especially tight end. Just my personal preference. I just think we need more. It says, plus Bieniemy also knows how to beat the Eagles. That. Yep. Because I think we can go all in on Lamar Jackson low key. I think they can. Just know that he won't be cheap. You bring in a Lamar Jackson, you can go ahead and just imagine this. Imagine the top 5 guys that the Commanders have to pay between now and next year, right? If you bring in Lamar Jackson today, out of those 5 players that the Commanders need to re-sign, you can only re-sign 2. So keep that in mind as we're saying we want a Lamar Jackson. Keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that Lamar Jackson has been hurt the last 2 years. But also keep in mind that Lamar Jackson is a special player. I think he's a special player. And I think Lamar Jackson plus Eric Bieniemy could be special. So I'm not saying don't get him. All I'm saying is let's look at all the facts. It says the Eagles, beating the Eagles is easy. Keep Hurts off the field. That's true. Running the ball. And that was something that we were able to do. And it that worked. The Eagles also used that same thing in the Super Bowl where they were running the ball and keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands. And that was working for them. So, yeah, you got to have a nice balance between running and a quarterback because there's going to be times when you're down. Running the ball is not going to help you very much. But let's go ahead and dive into this list of players that are free agents. So here we go. We have Wes Schweitzer. I know my guy Phil pulled up the market value on Wes Schweitzer the other day, and he said that it was crazy. But with this site, you can't really believe everything that you see. Free agency is really what determines everything. They're saying that the market value for Wes Schweitzer is $13.8 million a year. And if that is truly true, guess what? We cannot afford him, and Wes Schweitzer's gone. And that creates another hole. Now we need multiple guards. Now we already needed guards. Now we need multiple guards if Wes Schweitzer leaves. Deron Payne, I think that's a priority. Everybody wants to trade him, sign a trade. It's either you sign them or you franchise tag them, or you let them go. I don't think a sign and trade scenario works, especially when teams know that they can go ahead and grab this guy, right? So even in a sign and trade, what can you actually get back for Deron Payne? It's most likely like a 3rd-round pick, right? All right, let's look at these comments real quick. It says, or at least Orlando Brown, get him and slide Orlando to the right. Orlando Brown is going to be expensive. Orlando Brown is commanding at least 20-something million. I'm going to pull him up in just a minute. Good said, it's official. Deion Sanders high step. Let's get it, man. It's lit. It's lit. Move Cosme to guard. I've been preaching that for the last, I don't know how many weeks, how many months. Cosme is better suited for guard. Cosme should be the starting right guard. Cosme is on that Brandon Sheriff trajectory if everything works out. Dave Robb says, just cut Leno. I hate the guys blocking with passion. You got to bring in somebody before you can cut a Leno, man. But I feel you, man. He regressed big time last year. Says, with the transition in ownership, I doubt they'll spend big money on any one free agent. Absolutely. You got to see what the ownership likes. I mean, the ownership does have he can come in and say everybody's fired. You never know. So we'll see. It says, pay him. Do not tag him. If you tag him, he isn't here long term. I'm all for paying Deron Payne. I think he's going to command some money. Let's see what Sports Track is saying that Deron Payne's contract market value is right now. So we click on that. He's at $19.4 million a year. I think that's fair. And that puts him in a nice little range. You see comparable players such as Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Leonard Williams, who is a defensive tackle. You see Armstead here as well. So, yeah, Deron Payne balled out last year. He led the team in sacks. I believe he had, 9.5 sacks or maybe more. Deron Payne was super solid last year. Trey Turner, he got to go. I don't want to see Trey Turner anywhere near my team ever again. G-Man says Cosme and Charles should be moved to guard. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. But the cost of Charles Leno, that could be something tricky. But then again, if he could work at guard, it could be okay. It definitely could be okay. But then now you need 2 tackles. And guess what? Those 2 tackles better be on it, or Sam Howell or whoever that's playing quarterback has no success. It says, can we get Brandon Graham if he wants to play? How much do you pay him and where do you plug him into? That's the question. I mean, we have 2 defensive ends that are, studs or that are going to get paid. So I don't know where Brandon Graham fits in. And why would Brandon Graham want to leave the Eagles and come to Washington unless if it's not for money? So that means we're going to have to open up the bank. We're going to have to open up our checkbook. All right, we got Cam Sims. Cam Sims can go, honestly. I'm not interested. He plays free agent. I mean, he plays not free agent. He plays special teams. Cam Sims can go. Not interested. Taylor Heineke. Let's just see what the market value is, just to see. Oh, my goodness. They got Taylor Heineke's market value at $19.8 million. I don't know how that's not even true. There's no way that's true. It says tackles and center are the biggest needs for the O-line. I agree. You need both. But if you're moving some of these tackles that we had last year to guard, it creates more holes, which will now mean the guard position is okay. Now we need tackles. So it's one of the two. You move the tackles inside, you're definitely going to need some tackles, which means you draft a tackle first round. If you can't sign one in free agency, you have to sign one in free agency and then draft one. Yeah, Taylor Heineke, there's no way Taylor Heineke gets $19.8 million a year from any team in the NFL. If a GM gives Taylor Heineke $19.8 million, he will be drug tested. He says, no, sir. Cam was a lot. Okay. I'm talking about Cam Sims. I'm not talking about Cam Curl. Cam Sims. Not Cam Curl, Cam Sims. I just want to clarify that. I don't know if you guys can see the screen. The stuff is kind of small, but yeah. So Cam Sims is the guy I'm saying that we can move on from. Cam Sims, guys, not Cam Curl. Just want to say that once again. All right. Efe Obada, he might come back, he might not. I mean, if we bring him back, cool. If not, that's also cool. You can replace him easily with a vet minimum that comes in and can perform and do some of the things that Obada could do. Tyler Larson, man, he can go. He's been unreliable. He's been injured, so he can go. Sorry. Let's see. David Mayo, goodbye. His bags are already packed, and he can grab his homie John Bostic. They both can go. We have no interest. Jonathan Williams, I think he's gone. I think you can upgrade there. That's what I mean by the team is definitely going to find players that fit that mold of what they're looking for out of that running back position. My apologies. He can go. Yeah, man, I just want to just let y'all know that I meant Cam Sims and not Cameron Curl. I promise. No, Cameron Curl is a lot. I mean, he was one of the better strong safeties in the league last year. Nick Martin, man, he can go. He's terrible. He's trash. I'm sorry. I hate to call players trash, but he's trash. Khalid Hudson, man, I love what he brought to the table, especially in that last game of the season, but it's most likely looking like he's gone. He could come back on a cheap deal. He is young. He is 25, so I'd love to have him back. Milo Effler, he can go. Care less. Jarrett Patterson is interesting. If we do nothing else at running back, then you bring Jarrett Patterson back. But if you decide to upgrade, then Jarrett Patterson is gone. Jeremy Reeves, he's a lock. He got to come back. I mean, he is such a staple for what we do. He took a huge step this year, so he definitely has to come back. Eli Wolf, he can go. Cole Holcomb. I think Cole Holcomb should go. For you guys that are in the chat, please drop your comments right now. Is there anybody who thinks that Cole Holcomb should come back? I think that Cole Holcomb should go. I think that you can upgrade on Cole Holcomb. But if you can't, then you bring him back. That's the only time you bring Cole Holcomb back. He was a tackling machine, but I feel like we can upgrade and get a legit middle linebacker. What do you guys think? Let me know. Cole Holcomb, should he stay? Should he go? It says, did Mayo even unpack after last year's offseason? Look, man, he needs to go, man. He needs to go. I'm sick and tired of David Mayo, man. He needs to go. It says, one upside about Cam Sims is he's a 6'5" target. I get that. It says he has some decent moves and can pick up yards after the catch. I get it. I truly do. And he plays special teams. But if you can upgrade and bring in a guy who plays special teams, let's say you bring in a guy that can do some of the things that Cam Sims can do and is a better upgrade offensively, then you do it. But if he might be in their plans, I don't know. If you're going to have a Cam Sims, why not use him? They didn't use him. He was pretty much a special teams player. So we'll see. The team does love Cam Sims, and Cam Sims could possibly be back next year. Let's keep this thing moving. Yeah, on special teams. Oh, man. Cole Holcomb should come back. Okay. Slasher said on special teams. Hawk says, yes, bring him back. It says the guy was playing like a lost luggage. Hey, Dave, are you talking about Mayo or are you talking about Cole Holcomb? That is funny. Hawk says just not at middle linebacker. Thank you. Cole Holcomb at the middle linebacker position was terrible. You got what's his name? I can't think right now. You have Jamin Davis. Let him be your guy. That's Jamin Davis at the weak linebacker position, Cole Holcomb at the strong linebacker position, or you can even mismatch because Jamin Davis was used as a pass rusher last year, so you can mismatch those guys. But at the end of the day, you need a legit middle linebacker, a real quarterback of that defense, a guy who can cover, a guy who can rush, a guy that can do a lot of different things. Okay, you were talking about Mayo, so we are on the same page. Yeah, Mayo was he was terrible. He was terrible, and I'm just glad that we don't have to ever see him again on our team, at least. And then the last guy on the list that's a free agent is Rashad Wildgoose. I mean, I see him as a 5th or 6th corner. If you can upgrade that position, you do it. If he's there as a piece that, he's still young. So there's some upside there. But and then he's cheap. He's cheap, under $1 million. So he could be that last final piece to that corner room if they decide to keep 6 or 7 guys. Maybe he's a special teams guy. But I know Hawk was talking about the Kansas City Chiefs sports track page. Let me see. I don't really know how to find teams on here, the NFL teams. Let's look at the Eagles first. Because I know you asked about the Eagles and you wanted to see who they had as free agents. So here's some of the guys that the Eagles have. And the Eagles have a long list of guys that are free agents. Let me see. I guess I don't even know how I did it the first time to find the free agents. Okay, free agents. Here we go. You just click on the tab. So they got guys like Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham. And I'm excited that they're going to be losing a lot of their pass rushers. Good for them. Javon Hargrave. They're going to have to figure out how to pay a lot of these guys. And a lot of these guys are going to walk. Jason Kelsey's contemplating retirement. You got James Bradbury. You got, I hope that Bradbury leaves. I hope that Dominican Sue leaves. I hope that everybody that's on this list leaves. But one thing we do know is that the Eagles are going to re-sign Andre Dillard. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. The guy is special. He's great, man. He's great. And I mean, they're going to re-sign this guy. So they're going to break the bank on him. Guys like Miles Sanders are gone. Gardner Minshew gone. A lot of these guys are going to be gone. So that's a list for you, Hawk. Did you see anybody that you liked on that Eagles list? It says, I agree that Mayo and some of the other bench warmers at linebackers need to go. I would also attempt to sign Holcomb, who is a natural outside linebacker. I agree. And Khaleke Hudson, who can play the Buffalo nickel. I agree. If Cole Holcomb is coming back to play the middle linebacker position, outside linebacker, position, I'm cool with that. Khaleke Hudson, I'm cool with that. What's good, Larry? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. It says, I like Howell, but I don't believe for a second they won't explore. They won't be exploring bigger options. Absolutely. Every option is on the table. Sam Howell is no longer a lock to have that starting QB job. He's not a lock. They're going to explore if you tuned into the show, you can go back and catch the replay. Look, with Eric Bieniemy coming in, he knows that he needs to prove himself. If he does not believe in Howell, or if he can find a better option than Howell, then guess what? That's what he's going to do. I definitely agree with you. For those of you guys that are coming in, please please subscribe. I appreciate you guys. Hawk says, I'm to see who the Chiefs or Eagles may be welcome in addition to Washington. Okay, so you like Fletcher Cox. Any other pass rusher that's coming into Washington will have to they'll have to come in on a cheaper deal just because we already invested so much money into that position already. I'm going to go ahead and look at one more team and then talk about a few more things, and I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. This is such a fun stream, man. I don't want to end it, but I have to end it soon. Let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs real quick. All right, let's see who they have as free agents because, usually when coaches leave, they can try to sway some guys to come along. Now, you have Orlando Brown. He's going to break the bank. His market value is insane. I can tell you guys right now. $22.4 million a year. I know somebody mentioned maybe we can grab a Orlando Brown Jr. This is a guy that protected Patrick Mahomes. Do you think they're about to let this guy walk for free? He is going to command the bank. Orlando Brown coming to DC. I don't know about that. He's going to command the bank. Chris says Cole will play outside. We're going to draft a middle linebacker. Bieniemy loves Sam Howell. Says it was a major selling point for him. Oh, that's awesome. If he loves Sam Howell, I love Sam Howell. Whatever Eric Bieniemy likes, I like. It's like coming to America when the lady was like, whatever you like. Look, whatever Eric Bieniemy likes, the team is going to try to make it possible for him to have success. They want this thing to be a long-term thing. Redskins Weekly, what's good, brother? Appreciate you hopping on the stream, man. We're here having a good time. So back to Orlando Brown. Man, he's going to be expensive. And they put him in the class with guys like Lermy Tunsil and, David Bakhtiari from Green Bay, Cam Robinson, Colton Miller. So it's his big money right here. Can the Commanders afford to pay $22.4 million a year for an elite 26-year-old left tackle? I don't know. So we can go ahead and scratch him off the list. You have Smith-Schuster. We're good at wide receiver. You have Dunlap. Could be a possible, vet minimum type guys. Andrew Wiley. That's another big tackle for these guys. So the Chiefs, his market value says 4.6, but this guy's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. He will get paid. He's not getting no $4.6 million. He's going to get paid. He's a big part of what the Chiefs do. So the Chiefs are going to have to spend some money this year on some of their guys. You have Ronald Jones the second. He could be a possibility. He could be a guy that comes in and fills in at that RB position, to be honest. That third RB. So Dave says, at 16, do you honestly think that Eric Bieniemy would make a play for Anthony Richardson? I don't see it. Some people see us taking him there. We talked about this earlier on in the show, and I don't think they grab an Anthony Richardson. I think that Anthony Richardson is a project similar to Malik Willis, but higher upside than Malik Willis, being that he played at Florida and in the SEC. So I rank Richardson higher than Malik. When Malik came out, I said that Malik would take 2 years. Malik is a 2-year project, meaning that he needs to sit for 2 years and needs to be groomed for 2 years. This guy, Anthony Richardson, will need to be groomed for at least a year. I think he's a project. I think he's not an NFL quarterback right now. He's an athlete. He's a guy that's a lot similar to Justin Fields right now, just running the ball. As a passer, I don't know. He's going to take some work. He's going to take some, you're really going to have to zero in on. If you say Richardson is your guy, you're going to have to be all in. You have to do everything possible to help this guy, to help this guy succeed. You're going to see some teams draft him, and it's going to be a progress. It's going to take this guy a year and a half to possibly be a guy in the NFL. That's just my opinion. I know nothing. I'm just a fan. Dave Robb says, watch Holcomb become the next Antonio Pierce. He could, under the right system. It's all about a system. It's all about value, too. Another team might value Holcomb better than we do. But from what I've seen out of Holcomb, I want to say that he's just a guy, but he's better than just a guy. He's a good piece. He's a good piece. He's a piece that you need on a team, but he's not the guy. And if you can upgrade middle linebacker, you do it in a heartbeat. And if he wants too much, you let him go, and you can easily fill that linebacker position. Easier said than done. We've been struggling to fill that position, but you guys get where I'm coming from because money talks. Larry has a plan. Larry says draft corner, tackle, center, and a shocker. Maybe RB, QB, or pass rusher. I'm with you on that RB. You guys already know I'm looking for another RB. So I'm with you on the RB. It might not be first round. It could be second, third round. There's this RB class is special. A guy that I've been looking at is Tajay Spears. This guy is special, man. From Tulane, pass catcher, a guy that can possibly fall to the third round. And if you're lucky, you could be able to grab a guy like that. So I'm definitely all in on making this RB room better. Quarterback, you can definitely see them grabbing a quarterback in the mid-rounds if they believe that Howell is the guy. Maybe Howell, mid-round quarterback, vet, and then you see what you have at the end of the season, then you assess. Maybe next year you go ahead and, you now try to get a guy like a Drake May or Caleb Williams. You go all in on Caleb Williams. So a lot could happen during the draft. They could trade back. A quarterback needy team could trade up to 16 and say, hey, I want Anthony Richardson. And you gain a first-round pick in 24. You have 2 firsts. You can package those to, move up or do whatever you need to do to move up next year for a better quarterback class. So I'm all in on that. It says draft will depend on what we do in free agency. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is free agency is for need, right? The draft is for best available prospect. Like you grab the best available talent. In the draft, you try to find these guys that are like Michael Parsons, right? When we drafted guys like Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, we weren't necessarily looking for defense. We were not necessarily looking for tackles, but you took what fell to you, right? So the draft is to try to get these generational level type talent, these guys that will not come to Washington as a free agent, these guys that you can find and groom them into something. So that's what that draft is for. Every time I look at the draft, I'm looking at who can we bring in that can come in cheap and be that next franchise left tackle or that franchise right tackle or that franchise running back or that franchise wide receiver in the draft. That's where you do it. Benjamin St. Juste, right? A nice, promising young player. You find him in the draft. So that's what the draft is for. Even if you sign, let's say you sign a particular position at free agency. For example, we signed William Jackson III, right? But then, you also had an opportunity to get another corner. All I'm saying is you have to keep all your options open. The draft, you get the best available talent. And sometimes that just might mean doubling up. You can sign a linebacker and still grab one in the draft. That's all I'm saying. So I agree they need a middle linebacker, hopefully either in the draft or free agency. Absolutely. Or both. It doesn't hurt. Maybe you find a middle linebacker that you like in the 6th, 7th round that you can groom into being the guy. So you paid somebody in free agency, and then now you have a guy that's in the pipeline that could potentially take over. Good teams don't just settle either in the draft or free agency. Good teams continue to better their team. You know what I'm saying? A guy that I'm excited about is Chris Paul at guard. I don't know what happens there. I don't know if he gets a true opportunity to be able to start. But that was a guy that you drafted in the 7th round. That's going to come in. He's going to learn. He's going to be groomed. And if he pans out, guess what? He can potentially become a starting caliber guard for you in the future. That's why it's imperative that you continue to draft. You continue to draft and you continue to draft. Larry says, we drafted Antonio Gibson when we didn't need him. Good point. Absolutely. That's an excellent point. You drafted Antonio Gibson. We didn't need him. And then he panned out. Look, to be honest, I love Antonio Gibson. I think that he's a compliment running back as well. Hopefully, Bieniemy can use this guy to his full potential. I want to see Antonio Gibson succeed, but that does not mean that we don't stop to add to that group. The more weapons you have, the better, right? It says maybe EB could be able to bring in some staff and players that could also players to come in also. Absolutely. If he can bring in some staff, I'm all in, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So look, I am all in on that. Let's go back and look at this list. So guys like Jerick McKinnon, Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman could be a piece here in Washington, but his market value is possibly going to be high. It's going to be high. Let me see. So guys, with our sports track, sometimes these market values are hit or miss. So I really don't know. Okay, $10 million a year is pretty high for Mecole Hardman. We cannot afford him even if we wanted to. Dave Robb says Chris Paul actually played really well. He did. So he should be in the mix of guys that we can, promote. I'm all about promoting players from within, fight for that job. So, man, this has been a fun little stream. If you guys have any last thoughts, comments, drop them in the comment section. I'll go ahead and get to those before I end the stream. It says, I would let go J.D. McKissic. Absolutely, man. J.D. McKissic, I think he should retire with all the injuries that he's had. He's been through too much. But if he can find a team that wants his services and he wants to continue to play, let him go on. Like, it was nice for him to come back this year and try to, do some good for the team. It just didn't work out. It just didn't pan out. J.D. McKissic, true professional. Guys, if you guys are seeing me for the first time, my name is Manny. You guys can find me on Twitter at TS with Manny. I do Washington Commanders stuff. I do dynasty football, fantasy football, NBA, NFL. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Talking Sports with Manny. I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next stream. This has been one of the most exciting streams that I've done in a long time. And hopefully I can do more of this where I can go an hour, 2 hours long type streams instead of just the quick little 30, 40-minute type stuff. So love you guys, and I'm going to catch you guys on that next stream. I'm out. Peace.